What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Victory and Vices podcast. Hiatus is over. The fucking Catalina wine mixer of the podcast game is back again. Yes, we are indeedy. We got a lot to cover. First and foremost, you're back safe, you're healthy today?
Back safe and healthy.
Little sunburned, nonetheless?
Yeah, I got a farmer's tan.
Tell the people where you've been.
Just been to a little place called Italy. Been to Turin on my skis.
Yeah. Skiing, giving the people what they want, and also promoting the podcast as well.
Indeed. We had a couple of conversations about the podcast while
do you know what podcast is in Italian?
I would love to tell you.
I would love to know, actually, as well. If anyone knows, let us know. And you going back next year?
Yeah, I might be going back next year, but a few conversations with a couple of people in a few bars and things like that. A few guys from Scotland, a couple of guys from Ireland, so let's put the word out there. So, just doing bits.
Yeah, shout out to Italy. Aaron Ramsey's going to love it out there next year as well.
He will, let me tell you, he will.
He is going to love it. Winter break, Turin, skiing. Not worrying about Xhaka picking up another yellow. Fucking brilliant.
Even when it's skiing, it's warm. So he's got nothing to complain about. And he's on, 300-400 grand a week?
And the rest, bro. And the rest doesn't even make sense staying in London anymore, does it?
Not at all.
Let's all fucking move to fucking Italy, that's what I say. But anyway, let's move on to the football. Yeah, we got a lot to cover. Liverpool, where art thou, Liverpool? What's happened to Liverpool? Oh, man, I put my fucking neck on the line as well and said Liverpool would win the league, which it still might. Because City and United have to play each other. Yeah. But Spurs also have to go to Anfield as well. And
Chelsea got to go somewhere as well, haven't they?
I wouldn't worry too much about Chelsea. I wouldn't worry about them. But yeah, Liverpool. Explain to me how this has gone so badly wrong. Because for those of you who can't remember, December 29th, just before the turn of the year, Liverpool were on 54 points. City were on 44 points. It was a 10-point gap.
It was.
Liverpool then played City. If they'd won, we'd probably be saying league over. But since then, it's turned into the most almighty shit show I have ever seen. Mo Salah has gone missing. If anybody's seen him, please, point him in the direction of Melwood Training Ground because he is due back there. Naby Keita, well, I've never seen a player be so disregarded by a manager ever. Yeah. I mean, fuck me. There's just no trust there with Klopp and Keita. We'll come to that in a moment. But on the whole, Liverpool fans, it was a bit of a mare on the weekend. Everton was shit. If Salah took at least one chance, Liverpool would be top.
Yeah, no, I want to just put it out there, first of all, to any Liverpool fans that obviously watch the podcast. Social media will tell you that your league is over. Now, it isn't over. You're just a point behind. The only issue is that psychologically it's a huge blow.
Well, it's 1 point and I think is a goal difference of plus 7.
Yeah, the goal difference could become an issue.
Yeah.
At the moment, I wouldn't read too much into it, but yeah, social media. Obviously, yesterday, once they drew, it went wild. About you just pointed out the points difference come at January to what it is now. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp blamed the wind once again. Yeah, we'll come back to that. But the league isn't over because you're just a point behind, and there's 9-10 games to go.
There is 9 games.
9 games to go.
Yeah, 9 games,
so it's certainly the league. If they win every one of their games, at the end of the season, then there's no reason why they couldn't win the league. But on the other hand, me, you, and Reese, we made a prediction. What was this? Just before Christmas.
Just about.
And me and Reese both said...
I can't remember when Reese was on last, actually.
I think it was around Christmas because he came home, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, that's facts.
And it was before the City-Liverpool game where they could have gone 10 points clear, I think it wasn't it? With no games in hand for anybody.
We did, I think, we discussed it at length in one podcast, from what I remember anyway, at least.
And I pointed this out to someone at the weekend. Now, teams of the past that have gone on to win titles, some of the United teams, the Chelsea teams when they were good, City teams, when it's mattered and when it counts, they've gone away to teams and they've won. Okay, so
what good champions do.
Yeah. So you look at the year that United won the league last time under Fergie when they had Van Persie. They went to the Etihad, won 3-2. Van Persie scored that deflected free kick.
Yeah.
They went to the Bridge that year. They won there as well. Places that in previous occasions they hadn't.
Historically, they haven't done well. Yeah.
And that was that occasion for Liverpool against City where they knew that had they have gone there and won 1-0 or 2-1 or dug out a result, then they were pretty much home and dry. But they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And yes, it was still 7 points after that. But me and Reece both said that they've got no Premier League winning medals in their side. I think that's true.
I would just, I don't think
there's
so.
anybody in
the
their side that's won the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp doesn't have a good record in sort of cup finals and seeing things out. Okay, so me and Reece
getting over the finish line.
Yeah, me and Reece just said that from a mentality perspective, psychologically, we didn't think they'd have it in them, and we look what's happened. So recently they've drawn with Leicester, they drew with West Ham, they drew with United, and now they've drawn with Everton. So that's 4 draws within the last sort of 6-7 games, I believe it is.
Okay.
And I just think, I personally think that it's gone now. It's not gone, obviously, mathematically. 100% it hasn't gone. They're still right there, but everything that was predicted of them has happened so far.
If they can stay in it until the United City game, which I believe is April 24th. Let me have a look here. I wrote it down.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's April 24th.
100%, right? Don't get me wrong.
Then there's a chance.
Of course, there's every chance they can win the league. But I just think psychologically now, this will be very difficult for them to take because of how far they were ahead.
I agree.
And, there's teams like Leicester, West Ham, you should be getting points against those sides. Should be getting 3 points. They should have beaten Everton. To Everton's credit, they were okay. The last time they played, it took a Jordan Pickford error for them to beat them that time.
Yeah. There was an element of luck there as well in that game. Yeah,
and Everton had a few chances as well. So Liverpool, they just seem to, for the last 6-7 games, I think they beat 5-0 last week. Watford. Yeah, obviously, I
Watford.
Once they battered Watford, I thought, perhaps they've come back, and they've got their heads on and back in the game, but it just seems to be a one-off.
Well, they got Burnley on the weekend, and I'd fully expect them to pick up.
Is it in Burnley
or
Anfield?
Anfield?
Yeah, so they probably will, and they'll probably win maybe 2-3, 4-0 or 4-1, whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is now that who have City got on the weekend?
I want to say Watford.
So I think City will win again, and it's not in their hands now. That's the only thing for Liverpool. It was in their hands. It's been in their hands almost all season. And
it's tough on them because you look at it. Liverpool were a point behind.
Yeah.
You then take the psychological factor, as you said. I'd probably call that another point. And then the goal difference is also another point. So it's tough. It'll be really tough for them. But going back to said games against Leicester and everybody else, Jurgen Klopp has had various excuses. Now, Jurgen Klopp, I'm not a huge fan of him, I'll be honest with you. I think he's a bit of a media darling.
Yeah.
He gets away with a lot, especially running on the pitch in the last derby right into the centre. No other manager's getting away with that. We mentioned this on previous podcasts. Klopp gets away with a lot. He's blamed the wind. He's blamed the snow. He's blamed the television broadcasters for wanting to cut a game short. He's blamed everybody but his team. And instead of giving him a rocket up the arse and saying, Mo Salah, where the fuck have you been? He basically tries to blame everybody else and deflect attention. Sometimes being self-critical is not a bad thing, and actually sitting down to those lads and publicly calling them out and going, you didn't do enough. You did not do enough, and they haven't done enough. I don't understand a lot of Klopp's decisions. Him blaming X, Y, and Z is very strange to me. The whole Naby Keita situation is fucking bizarre.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Naby Keita, and we're United fans. For those who don't know, if you're new, if you're old, you're probably aware. You're aware already. Naby Keita is a wonderful football player. Let's not make any bones about it, right? He is a ability-wise, he's fucking talented. Like, he can do pretty much anything with a ball other than maybe a Modric, like a Modric or a Cesc type of player who can control a game. Keita can do pretty much everything else, right? He offers something different that Liverpool don't have. And Klopp put on Lallana before him. I'm sat there and I'm like, oh shit, they paid fucking almost 60 million for this guy. And Lallana came on before him. The lack of trust there is bewildering. They bought a square peg for a round hole. Did Liverpool need Naby Keita if you've already got Oxlade-Chamberlain? This is the question I wanted to ask you, because Ox and Keita are actually pretty similar.
Yeah, it's just the Ox is still out, isn't he?
Well, Ox is coming back, right? But if you look at their actual overall game, Ox and Keita do things very similar. They have that acceleration over 5 yards, which allows them in a central midfield position to beat a man. And I would probably say they've got a similar passing range. It's not an amazing passing range, but they have an ability to beat a man, burst forward, get into the box.
Yeah.
And right now you would say Ox is probably a little bit ahead of him in the final third. So do you really need a Naby Keita if you have an Oxlade-Chamberlain? Because you can't play them both in the same side. And clearly Klopp doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
So the question is then, when Ox does come back to full fitness, what do you do with Naby Keita? Because Fabinho's nailed down a position. I think anybody would play ahead of Keita now, the way Klopp is. I mean, Milner would play. Henderson would play. Who else is Lallana?
Yeah, the Ox,
I know
obviously.
Keita had a virus on the weekend, right? But I'm not buying that. Keita now next season will come under huge scrutiny, and Klopp has to do better with him.
I can honestly see him being sold, because if Oxlade-Chamberlain comes back and he's anywhere close to how he was playing before his injury,
bro, he was on fire. That goal against City in the Champions League, fucking outstanding.
Yeah. Then Keita isn't good looking. The main problem with Liverpool at the moment, they had last season, they had issues that they needed to address. A centre half, they did that. Van Dijk,
goalkeeper,
again,
did that.
He was excellent.
Van Dijk, by the way, I know it was a bit of a mismatch, the Calvert-Lewin Van Dijk sort of. It's not even a battle. I don't want to call it a battle because Calvert-Lewin just got ragdolled everywhere. But Van Dijk was like a fucking Rolls Royce, bro. I made a statement. Didn't I say he was the best in the league? And I maintain he is the best defender in the world. That's coming from a United fan. Van Dijk is the best defender in the world right now.
It's getting to that point with Van Dijk now that his performances aren't surprising me, because I'm just growing to expect it now. Yeah,
he's so consistent.
They solved the defensive issues with Van Dijk. We spoke before about how even when someone like a Matip or Gomez next to him, when they're not on song, the Liverpool defence is still brilliant because of Van Dijk. Alisson has been great for them. Now, you look at Liverpool now, though, and the one thing that's missing is that creativity from midfield, that proper creativity.
That Coutinho element,
because
which is gone.
When Salah is not firing, and I've got a stat here, which I'll just come back to in a moment. Firmino, Mane, both good players, but they're not of Salah's ability when he's on fire, when he's on form, and they just need goals from midfield. Now you look at United; they get a few more goals from midfield.
Pogba's done well in
Pogba. You got Herrera gets one or two. Herrera's got one. Mate's always got a goal in him somewhere. You look with Spurs, they got Ali, they got Ericsson, they got Sissoko, Son. You look at Arsenal, Mkhitaryan's getting goals, Ramsey gets goals, so on and so forth. Okay, with the Liverpool midfield, unless it's a penalty when Milner scores, he doesn't really get goals. Fabinho doesn't score. Keita's not playing. They're just not getting goals. So
FYI, I think Fabinho is a great player too.
Yeah, he's
a very good player.
He had a slow start, but he's been very good of late.
He's and the game against Bayern Munich as well. We don't really cover a lot of Champions League games, but he was fucking brilliant. There was no Van Dijk. He was credit where credit's due. He was outstanding, and he's been brilliant. But
100%.
like you said, that lack of creativity. If Jordan Henderson is your main source of creativity, you have a problem.
Yeah, and I know how Reece feels about Jordan Henderson, so we won't delve too much into that. I retweeted last week a stat about Mo Salah.
Do tell.
Now, Mo Salah this season has pretty much failed to score in every big game that he has played. Now, last season he was doing the business in that department. Now, this season, so far, he hasn't scored against Spurs, against Chelsea, against City in both games, against United in both games, against Everton or against Arsenal. And in the Champions League, he has failed to score against PSG twice, Napoli and Bayern.
And that's every big game.
Every big game that he's been involved in this season.
Every big game.
He hasn't produced anything. Now, 20 Liverpool fans listening once again, that's not me bashing him or bashing Liverpool Football Club. Everybody who knows me will know my opinion of Liverpool and yourself as well, okay? I'm not bashing them, I'm just pointing out stats. Last season he was scoring them goals. This season he's not.
Well, look, stats are there to be debated, but, the fact is he hasn't scored.
Yeah.
And he has, for lack of a better term, gone AWOL.
Yeah. And he's still the second highest goal scorer in the league this season. He's not matched quite the heights that he's had last year, but he's still, he's got 16 goals, one behind Aguero, so he's still, doing a few bits here and there, but he seems to be scoring against the lesser sides.
Yeah, I'll still say he's carrying that Liverpool side.
Oh, yeah.
In a sense that, as you say, he is top of the charts in that respect. But what I will say is, even watching the Everton game, there's 2 chances that he has where he is just not clinical enough.
Yeah. Same as last season.
Absolutely not.
You know, he had an incredible tally of goals last season, but you can almost do a compilation video of how many chances that he missed, clinical chances, one-on-one chances. So, you know, God knows how many goals he could have scored if he scored half the chances that he missed. Because, and I don't just mean half chances. I watched a video not so long back on YouTube of the chances of last season that he missed, and some of them are absolutely criminal.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not bashing Liverpool, as I said. I'm just sort of stating it as it is. He's proved me wrong in a way, Salah, because I was questioning could he score goals this season like last season.
He's still a very good player.
He's still a very good player who's still scoring quite a few goals. But when they really, really need him at this stage of the season, when you need to see it home, the defence is doing their job. The goalkeeper's doing their job, but they're just not firing on all cylinders.
It's like a role reversal of last season, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Where Liverpool defensively, they were, I don't want to say shoddy, because Van Dijk shored it up a little bit, didn't he, when he joined? But yeah, Liverpool's main issues were in defence. Now they're in attack. You know, I look at Van Dijk, 75 million, that's money well spent. Fabinho's around 50 million, money well spent. Alisson, give or take 50 plus million, money well spent. Ox, 35 million, it's been okay, it's not been bad. But Keita is the question mark. I'm really interested to see next season, does he have a place in that Liverpool side? I'm curious. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I mean, who even
Liverpool fans, tell us.
Let us know.
Post in the comments below if we're interested to hear your thoughts on it, because on current form and this season, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but I don't seem to think that he has much of a future there at the moment.
Well, put it this way, he may not have a future, and I wanted to talk about Jurgen Klopp's future, because Jurgen Klopp had a mare on the weekend. Obviously, the wind was a problem. The ball boy was a problem. Did you see that?
Yes, sarcastically clapping, wasn't it?
Oh, Jurgen, that kid just wanted a payout. He was fucking desperate for Klopp to slap him.
Like the ball boy we had in Hazard.
Yeah,
Charlie
desperate.
Morgan,
was that Charlie Morgan?
It was indeed, yeah.
Look, that kid was begging to be slapped, and you could Jurgen Klopp gritted his teeth. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking hit that cunt now," and you could see the kid going right there. Go on, I want a payday. But Jurgen Klopp, fair play, he found some type of temperament which he's lacked recently, and he didn't smash the kid in the face. But Klopp's future, I mean, realistically, Liverpool have spent the best part of 250 million on 5 players. Now, if Klopp doesn't win anything this season, I mean, is next season his last Liverpool season? Well,
there was a lot, we mentioned at the start of this season, there was a lot of people saying that with the money that they've spent and the holes that they've now filled, that, you know, they might not have been expected to win the league, but I think the Liverpool board expected them to win a trophy. Now, they're out of the Carling Cup, because City won the Carling Cup.
The League Cup,
the Carabao Cup, whatever. So that went. The FA Cup, I don't believe they're in that either.
I think they went out to Wolves.
They went out to Wolves. Yeah, we were here doing an episode at the time.
We were doing an episode live at the time.
Obviously, it hangs in the balance with Bayern Munich, because 0-0's not a terrible result, but obviously they're now going away. So, you know, they're going to have to either draw 1-1 or win. And, you know, Bayern have just...
for the Liverpool fans that know away goals, as they said on radio the other day.
That was
as long as you get 2, Bayern get 4.
Works as double, doesn't it?
It's going to work as double, yeah.
So, see, that's a very difficult task, because Bayern have just pulled back the lead on Dortmund. Did you know that? They're now level on points when Dortmund were 10 clear.
I haven't checked the Bundesliga recently, but you've been in continental Europe, so you probably know more than me.
So Bayern Munich have been playing well. They've hauled that 10 points back from Dortmund.
Hauling ass.
So they're on song. So you know, they could be out the Champions League potentially, you know, by next week, and then it's just the Premier League. So, you know, if they don't go on to win the league, they could finish trophyless. I don't think the board are going to be happy, and I think Jurgen Klopp's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah, I know, I'd agree. I think come the start of next season, the pressure will ramp up on him. He'll still get. I think he'll still be there. But I think that next season, if they give him more money to spend, and they say there's another 150 million, and there is no results, then Jurgen Klopp, they're going to turn around and go, okay, right, this isn't working anymore, because that'll be his 6th or 7th season.
I was just about to say, he's been there longer than what some people realise.
Well, put it this way, and again, this is not a United bias by any stretch of the imagination, but if Solskjaer gets United into the top 4 and wins an FA Cup, He's won more in 5.5 months than Klopp has in 5.5 years. And therein lies the problem for Liverpool fans.
And a question for you now is that if Liverpool finish second in the Premier League and they win no trophies, and United finish third or fourth and they win, say, the FA Cup, for example, who's had the better season?
United. And again, that's without any bias. It's just
I'm
a trophy guy. So
yeah, I had this debate, I think about 2 years ago, it might have been with Chris Evans, I think, because at the time...
Shout out to Ed as well.
Shout out to Ed. I think Spurs finished above United at the time. I think we finished fourth, they might finish third or second, but we won the FA Cup, and I think it was Van Gaal. Something like that happened, where we won a trophy, or it might have been the League Cup or whatever it was. And I said to him that we've had a better season than you, and he was like, no, you haven't, because we finished higher in the league. I was like, well, we're both in the Champions League, and we've won silverware.
If you put it this way, if you finish second, third, or fourth,
you're playing Champions League football.
You're playing Champions League football. It doesn't really matter whether you come to. You put it this way, in the words of the late great Rob Tom, God bless my man, Robbie Tom, you don't win silver, you lose gold. And if you're not first, you're not nothing. So if you come in second, third, or fourth, doesn't really matter because you're still getting the same fucking thing anyway. So if you're coming fourth and getting a trophy, and you come in second with nothing, I'd rather come fourth and get a trophy. You're still getting the same thing.
100%.
That's my take on it anyway. But yeah, moving forward then. All right, Everton, because we talked a lot about Liverpool. We'll talk about the blue half of Merseyside. I'll sum up Everton very shortly. Calvert-Lewin was shit. Walcott was shit. Bernard was shit. Michael Keane was terrific, though. Michael Keane's my player of the weekend. Thought he was superb. Everton were just... we use the word impotent a lot on this podcast, don't we?
We do.
And they were a big flaccid cock. Like, they're just fucking crap. Like, they were so bad to watch. Theo Walcott, how has he got 100 Premier League goals? I sat there and looked at him and I thought, like, have you won a competition to play today? Because he was fucking shit.
Charity.
He was terrible. Oh my God. And Bernard, right? Oh, by the way, it's Bernard. I'm not calling him Bernard anymore.
Bernard.
I'm calling him Bernard until he fucking earns the Bernard, right? He was awful. Richarlison was on the bench and he came on, and I think tactically it was designed to stretch Liverpool at the end, and to a degree it worked. But how Everton have spent so much money and have so little quality, and I still hate that Cenk Tosun prick as well. He came on and he was fucking awful as well. Everton are terrible.
I think in this game, I got the impression that Everton just didn't want to lose to them.
They definitely didn't want to win.
No, that's the thing. I just think that they just wanted to grind out like a draw because... They celebrated it quite a lot.
Van Dijk had a lot to say about that afterwards.
Which, just to point out, a lot of people on social media said that Liverpool also did that when they came back from 2-0 down against West Brom just a couple of years ago. Shit!
The internet is undefeated.
So you be careful what you say because the internet will always find you out.
Yeah.
Because 100%. Said a lot of them celebrating a 1-1 draw or 0-0 draw when they did something similar. And again, just facts. They did something very similar.
At least the Everton one is against their big rivals who are going for the league. It wasn't just a league game against West Brom. So
Everton in the last couple of weeks, they got a result. I think it was last week. Got a point this week. So it's been worse for them. And I've said this a couple of times. I think it's just a case now with them that they're not. They may have a late push for Europe. It's not completely out of it. They're obviously not going to get relegated. It's just a case of I think it's too late to twist for the manager now. They're sitting in 10th. They're 6 points behind Wolves. So it seems unlikely. It's probably not going to happen, but it's just next season for them now. Are they going to trust Marco Silva?
The only way they get into Europe is if they have like a summer training camp in Marbella because they are fucking god awful. I feel sorry for Everton fans watching that shit. It was terrible.
Yeah, I think Everton fans now kind of just saying, look, the season has not gone to plan one bit. Let's just see what happens in the summer. Are they going to stick or twist to Marco Silva at the end of the season? If so, then they have to give him more money because that team is still lacking so much quality in a number of areas. So, I think their season is as good as over in many senses.
Look, it's mid-table mediocrity, which a lot of people would say isn't a bad thing. because if you're mid-table, you're safe, and you're there next season.
There's a lot of teams who would like mid-table.
Realistically, for Everton now, they need to start doing more. We spoke about this so many times, and before the season started, was it before the season we had that conversation about could Everton be the team to make it top 6 or top 7?
Yeah, we did,
and we sort of came to the conclusion that they might do, and no, they won't do, based on what we've seen. And that's not to say next season with a change of personnel and a change of manager they couldn't do it. But I don't know, bro. I'm just not. Whatever Everton are offering, I'm not seeing it, to be honest with you. But yeah. Anyway. All right, cool. All right, so the other big fixture then that's defining the Premier League was City and Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth. Now, you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Go on.
We mention Bournemouth every week, and when Bournemouth show up, they're such a great side to watch, right? They're fucking brilliant. And we always go, you know what, they've got so many talented players. We look at Brooks, we look at Ake, and we look at Mepham, and we look at Callum Wilson, and we think, oh my God, like these guys, when they actually click and they put it together, they're fucking superb.
Yeah.
What I witnessed on the weekend was utter piss.
Shite.
It was utter piss. Like, I've seen some piss in my time, but that was piss. Like, it was unbelievable. I've never seen a team roll over and die as much as Bournemouth did. Next time someone says Eddie Howe for a top job, show them the video of that game.
Yeah.
Because it was fucking garbage.
There's one stat that absolutely sums Bournemouth up in this game.
Look, I'm going to let you say it because I'm going to punch
See if it's the same one. And
it's definitely the same one. It's the only fucking stat that's even worth mentioning.
Bournemouth failed to record a single shot against Man City. Not on target. A single shot in the game, which is the first time they failed to do that in a Premier League game since they've been promoted. Which is how many seasons now? 3?
From what I gather, 4? And this stat came up on Match of the Day as well. But Bournemouth, I think they failed to have a shot on target in the entire game. Bournemouth had 18% possession.
That's not just a shot on target. There's no shots at all.
That's no shots at all. 18% possession, right? Those are the lowest stats since Opta has begun.
Yeah.
Like, that's piss. Like, we could have got 11 boys from down the pub and said, lads, get some boots. We're having a game.
Yeah,
and we would have done better.
That, yeah.
We would do better than that. Like, tactically, that was just rolling over and dying and going, okay, let's just not get slaughtered. They may well have gone and lost 5-2, right? Or maybe 6-3. But give the people something to shout about.
If I'm a fan, I would be asking for my money back for that game.
Honestly, that's not good enough. No. And anytime somebody now says Eddie Howe is the guy for a top job, no. You won't get my backing after that, because that is there's no bravery in that.
Do you know
there's nothing.
The ironic thing is,
that.
Right, is that I know that between now and the end of the season, we'll be speaking an episode on this podcast where we praise them for how well they're going to play.
When they show up and play, they're brilliant, and that's what I can't understand. When you have players of that talent, and City have deficiencies, they're not the world's greatest side. We've said many a time. They don't have the best back four that's ever graced the game. If you get at them, players like David Brooks and Wilson, let them run free. Give it a go. What have you got to lose? It's Bournemouth the mid-table, right? Okay, say they get spanked, right? 8-4. Who cares?
Yeah.
They've got nothing to lose.
Give the fans something, yeah.
Give them something.
The problem is with Bournemouth is that they don't have a plan B, which is my big worry for Eddie Howe. Because, we've discussed him as potential options. We're not saying that he deserved them as such, but we have had the conversation about him. Would he be able to get a job with a top 6 club?
Yeah.
And he strikes me as a manager. I say strikes me. It's the evidence is there for anyone to see. Like we said, when they're on form and they're on song and the way that they like to play is going well, then they produce some brilliant football. But when that doesn't work, they have no plan B.
They really
Zero
don't.
plan B.
They really don't.
If you have any aspirations of breaking that top 10 and trying to push upwards from there up the table, you have to have a plan B.
We've now found Bournemouth's limitations.
Yeah.
In a sense that their manager was too scared to tactically advance and go, you know what, let's give them a game. We now have found Bournemouth's limitations, people, and if I'm a Bournemouth fan, I'm quite sad because I'm looking at that team thinking, oh, maybe they could do more. Maybe they could go higher and we could go on a European tour and we might win something. You never know. I mean, Wigan have won the FA Cup, so why can't Bournemouth?
Yeah.
But
I think with Bournemouth fans, I'd be interested to hear Bournemouth Bournemouth fans' takes.
I would love their take on the weekend.
Because
love it.
The thing is that you point to Wigan won the FA Cup, Birmingham City beat Arsenal in the League Cup final.
Yeah, they did indeed, yeah.
But those teams both got relegated, okay? And look where they are now. They're both in the Championship. I think Wigan were in League One, just previously as well.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
And Bournemouth fans obviously will be very frustrated, rightly so. They'll be pissed off, and all the things you can use to describe it. But compared to where they were, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I do think their fans kind of have to look at the table objectively and think, okay,
you've come a long way.
Yeah, come a long way. Yeah. But the question for a Bournemouth fan is how do you progress any further from here? Because the gap for them tactically, for Eddie Howe, maybe financially as well, they're quite limited.
We say financially they're quite limited, right? But they've gone and spent money on Mepham, or Mepham, I beg your pardon, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. But shout out to him anyway. They've gone and spent money on him. They spent money on Ake. They've spent money on Brooks. They spent money on Solanke as well. Solanke's a lot of money. These aren't bargain bin signings. There's decent money being spent.
At the same time, in 2019, when you're spending 15 million on a player, 20 million even, it's still small money. And compared
to other clubs, but these are talented players though. Yeah.
So my question is to Bournemouth fans, please let us know, are you happy with where they currently are? If not, then give us your take on what they need to do to crack this top 10 and actually become a top 10 Premier League side, because
the keyword consistency.
They don't have a huge following. Their stadium is, I think, the smallest in the league.
Yeah.
So they do have their limitations, but are you happy with where Bournemouth are, or do you think they can go further? And if so, how?
Yeah, please let us know. Yeah, please let us know. Oh, how? Yeah, hey. City news. Okay, so it's actually quite a bit to go over actually with City. Injuries: De Bruyne hamstrung. He's going to be out a while. Maybe even for the rest of the season with a hamstring. Laporte is out. Stones is out. Fernandinho is out. They still got to go to Old Trafford and play the week before they play Spurs. The week before that, they got Palace away.
Yeah.
Again, nothing is guaranteed. As we said, City do have quite a tough run-in. Investigation into the Jadon Sancho transfer. I don't know if you've seen this, but basically there is an investigation into Manchester City. I've gone completely off topic with the game because I didn't want to discuss it. There's no point. City won 1-0 and it was just a pummeling. Sancho, when he joined Manchester City, he joined from Watford at the age of 14. There is a payment, or there was a payment that's been made to Sancho's agent at the time for 200,000, which is illegal. Okay. So an illegal payment was made to Sancho's agent. This is not uncommon with Manchester City. If you've seen previous episodes, we've gone on about financial fair play, how they have completely disregarded the rules. There's talk of Manchester City being potentially thrown out of next year's Champions League. Just wanted your take on that. I don't think it'll happen because money talks, but it seems they are trying to clamp down. I'd say it's more likely to be a transfer ban than anything.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if Man City get out of the Champions League. I think that's just too much. There'll be uproar, and there'll just be too much drama surrounding that, especially at the stage in the season that they're in now. Like you say, money talks. There'll be some brown envelopes passed around for sure.
100%.
And like you say, I think that the only thing can really come of that is a transfer ban and a heavy fine.
I would agree.
Because in the grand scheme of things, yes, it's illegal, but you talk of the size of the amount paid and when it was, and you put it in comparison to the amount of money involved in the club. I just don't think a great deal is going to come of that.
That's true. With the
injuries,
did Chelsea have a transfer ban? Or
yes, two windows.
When is that coming into play? It's not until January next year. Is that right?
I'm sure.
Do your Googles for me.
I'm sure it's with
it's not this summer because or maybe it is. They've signed. I was going to say if it's this summer, then the Pulisic wouldn't be able to join, would he?
I'm sure because they've already signed him that it doesn't.
There's definitely a transfer ban, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think with Pulisic because he's already signed a contract with them, he's allowed to come. Let's have a look.
We're getting there, people. We're getting there. Oh, well, that article has done fuck all to show us anything. Anyway, we'll find out. We'll come back.
I believe it might come down here though.
I thought it was this summer, but then initially I was like, oh, if it's this summer, then Pulisic wouldn't be happening, would it? So
Yeah, I'm sure, but because they've already signed him, he's a Chelsea player. They can recall loan players.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
because they've loaned him to. That's smart as fuck, man. Chelsea. Abramovich is not even allowed in the country, and that guy still runs things.
And you know what the thing is that the quality that they have on loan, which we said this in a previous episode, is that they don't even have to sign some players because they've got so much quality out that they could recall. You know, so from what I heard, I'm sure that it starts in the summer. We'll obviously get that confirmed and verified.
We will, yeah. We'll go to a quick interval. Make sure you add us up on the social media platforms. Remember, my Twitter and IG, Becky's Twitter and IG, the V&V one. Take time again to watch the start of the video if you want to find out about the SoundCloud and iTunes, all of that. We'll BRB after this, and we'll have the best of the rest. Alright people, we're back. Transfer ban, Chelsea. What was the prognosis?
Yeah, so doing a bit of reading, BBC Sport, TalkSport all seem to confirm that they won't be able to sign any players if this ban is confirmed, because it says they can appeal, which they probably will. But if it is 100% set in stone, they cannot sign anybody until January 2020.
Really?
Now,
interesting.
It isn't confirmed on this or any articles that I've read whether that commences them straight away, but I think that would have been stipulated if it was, if it was otherwise.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard as well, there's been nothing. They haven't said, "Oh, Chelsea have been banned for next 2 windows." However, it doesn't start until da da da. I've just heard that it's straight away. Now, I mentioned about the loan players that are available. Obviously, Pulisic will be coming in. You look at the potential of Eden Hazard leaving, which looks to be 100% the case.
Potentially Kante as well, might I add.
Potentially Kante. And they're going to have to look at what's on loan to try and bring something back, because if this is the case, then that's a huge blow for them, because they would have spent money. We know they would have spent maybe between 100 and 200 million. That's apparently what it was being said. And they need it as well. And if this is the case, then that's a massive blow. Yeah,
it is. Do you know what? Abramovich is an interesting character because, as I said earlier on, he's not actually allowed back in the UK. There's currently an issue after the whole Salisbury thing with the Russians. Those bloody Russians, honestly, they're always up to no good. But Abramovich isn't actually allowed back in the UK. I don't know. You'd have to read up on it. I'm not going to go into it in depth on this. It's complicated. I'm not going to go in depth on this podcast about political affairs. But part of me wonders, will Abramovich get bored with Chelsea? Do you reckon at some point? Because it's like it's like a toy, isn't it? Like,
just about to say the same thing. Yeah,
it's like a toy.
Yeah, I think that he's been bored for the last few seasons.
It's interesting, Nick. He's not allowed back in the UK. His team is going to shit. He's got a goalkeeper, and we'll come to that later on, because Kepa does what he wants. Kepa's picking the side. So the whole Chelsea thing is kind of nuts. But we'll come back to Chelsea in a moment. We'll go into the North London derby. Did you catch any of the North London derby whilst you were off piste? Use those skiing terms. You, Henry, and Pippa all out there off piste using all those fucking terms.
They call it as well.
What do they call it?
The après ski.
I don't know what that
means. After skiing.
What's that?
Well, obviously, it's just nightlife.
The sesh afterwards.
The sesh afterwards. You ski and then they call it après ski.
What's it called?
Après ski. A-P-R-E-S. Après ski.
Look, if he's pronouncing it right, let us know. I'll take your word on it for now.
I'm pretty certain.
Your Italian's brushed up on.
Après ski, yeah.
Après ski, yeah.
And it's, you get up early in the morning, going off topic slightly, but you get up early in the morning, go up the mountain, you ski all day, you have a couple of beers, and then afterwards, then you have après ski.
That sounds so fucking middle class, honestly.
Where, it is just basically, it's the sesh, it's Seshlehem. You trot on down to the local town village, and you experience the nightlife. Obviously, this was an early kickoff.
That has nothing to do with anything, right? Yeah.
So I didn't catch it live.
You saw highlights,
but I've seen most of the game back.
Thank God, otherwise we would have fuck all to talk about other than skiing right now.
Exactly. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Do you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed this game.
Yeah.
As a guy who watched it live, because I wasn't skiing with Henry and Pippa, I was on my sofa cheering on Arsenal, because I actually wanted an Arsenal win, in fairness, to make the top 4 race a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Spurs played like it wasn't a London derby. There was no intensity there. There was no creativity there. If you watch my transfer video, which you should have done about Spurs, it's mostly central midfielders that I picked. Their central midfield of Dembele and Wanyama is very limited. It has restrictions, and that was very evident in the game against Arsenal. They set up Spurs with a back three. The width was supposed to be supplied by Rose and Trippier. It was incredibly narrow. I thought Pochettino should have been more adventurous personally, and maybe stuck Lucas Moura in instead. Spurs just didn't play like it was an important game for some reason. I don't know why. They had no intensity, lack of creativity. It was a really strange display by Spurs.
Yeah, the word I would use, they've seemed to have flatlined over the last 3 or 4 games. They lost to Burnley, was it 2-1, and then they lost to Chelsea.
They did, yeah.
Quite recently as well, while I was also at Brisky, but I watched that one live because that was a later kick-off. It was in the midweek, wasn't it?
I can't get Brisky.
You'll get over that. And now they've drawn again. I don't think that I think they were lucky to get a point because Kane was offside.
Yeah, well, look, we'll come to that.
Very fine lines.
VAR is in place,
but it's been cleared up.
Then that Kane doesn't get that penalty.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
Yeah, and also that he was offside anyway. Alan Shearer, have you seen his exchange with a journalist on Twitter?
No, I didn't know.
A journalist, I think it was Matthew Dunn. He's got a tick next to his name, so he's someone about something, you know.
Don't they all?
And he tweeted Alan Shearer basically saying that you're a football pundit and you should know what you're talking about. Basically,
whoa! Don't disrespect Big Al like that, especially when Reece Henley watches.
Oh, when Reece gets back, he's going to be pulling up trees about that.
I know. Yeah. And in fairness, right, we talk about football purely from a fan standpoint. We've never played professionally. It's a bit rich to sit there and criticise the Premier League's top ever goal scorer and say, 100%. What do you know about football? Yeah. That's social media in a fucking nutshell. Like,
well, Big Al replied and said, how about you stick to your job as a journalist and stop trying to tell me how to do mine?
Stick to Microsoft Word, you bitch.
And he said that before every stat or fact or anything that they put out the match of the day, they have to check with the Premier League Match Centre, an official match centre.
That's interesting.
And he said this fact or this ruling, whatever comes up, is checked with the Premier League Match Centre alongside anything else that they do on Match of the Day. And as by the rules, these rule books are crazy. There's like rule 100 and something thousand point A, B, whatever.
Yeah.
It's very technical. But by the rules, letter of the law, he's offside. So whether you want to say next season, VAR doesn't get it. This season VAR isn't there. He shouldn't have had the penalty. So, fortunately for Spurs fans, he did, and he scored it, and it's ultimately got them to a point. Aubameyang also missed a penalty.
Oh, Auba, not all heroes wear capes.
Mm-hmm.
And Auba, he must have left his cape at home because let me tell you, that was a fucking woeful penalty. Yeah. It was almost like a tired penalty.
Yeah.
But he hadn't really done anything. He came on as a late substitute just to stretch the game. I don't think it was a penalty in the first place. Mm-hmm. Davinson Sanchez can count himself pretty unlucky. It was clumsy more than anything, and I think he just caught him. I mean, some referees will give it, some referees won't give it, right? But the bigger story behind that penalty, again, I don't know if you saw it. Obviously, you were probably
risky,
but Vertonghen encroached. Did you see that part?
Yes, I did.
So Vertonghen encroached in the box. He was a long way in the box as well. Should have been retaken, and that then allowed Vertonghen to get in place to stop the tap-in by Aubameyang. So
VAR again,
again would have cleared that up. So it's VAR is a huge necessity next season. It's a huge necessity. I don't know how they're going to use it in terms of what decisions they'll be looking for. For example, the Torreira red card. Do you use that? Do you use VAR on that?
This is the thing, though. The issue with VAR is that, and again, we won't go off on a tangent because we could do a whole episode on reviewing VAR decisions from last season. But as much as I want VAR and the game needs it, I think that they have to be careful with how often they use it.
You don't want to be stop-starting the game for everything,
not at all.
So.
It works in rugby because they go to like a TMO, where it's slightly different to VAR, but they go to a match official who only reviews a very specific or certain amount of instances. Mainly sort of tries. Is it a try? Is it no try? In touch, not in touch, or and then certain tackles or high tackles. So they've limited that very well to what they take to the TMO and what's in the hands of the referee. And I think that football will need to follow some sort of suit to that to avoid it just becoming a bit of a just a major issue, you know?
Yeah, totally agree.
As a United fan, though, and I'm asking you the question on this, I think that's not a bad result for United.
Not at all, no. It's a perfect result for United because that means Spurs, they drop points and that sort of gap between 3rd and 6th gets super condensed.
Yes.
So the fight is really on. That's an interesting battle now as well, with Spurs having to go to Anfield as well. So, yeah, no, it'll be interesting.
Well, one thing that I was delighted to see, because I've been bringing this stat up pretty much all season. Do you know what's coming?
It's the Spurs draw.
Spurs, 28 Premier League games. I was saying they hadn't fucking had a draw in. It is over. The king is dead.
Yeah.
It's over.
It had to happen at some point, didn't it?
Yeah.
It had to happen. But if Aubameyang hadn't fluffed his lines, it wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. So just reading over the stats now. Arsenal remain the only side in the Premier League to register an away clean sheet this season. Doesn't surprise me.
Defensively, can I just point out those Arsenal centre backs? Oh, Jesus Christ! Like, I don't know who was commentating on my stream because I use the illegal streams between me and you at home, and the illegal. I think I had like an Asian stream where this Chinese guy was commentating, or maybe it was just a Chinese punditry, and maybe it might have been Jim Beglin commentating, but they just absolutely wanked off Socrates at the end of the game. He was amazing. He was this, he was that. Bro, that was the perfect game for him against Harry Kane. Harry Kane just stood up, right? Had no pace to get in behind him. Socrates just said, okay, let's play physical. You got your back to goal constantly. That suits me great. You're never going to spin in behind me. You don't have any players that can go past me. Terrific. Socrates did okay, but that Arsenal defence is nothing special. Mustafi at right back is a massive liability. Koscielny is past it. Monreal is probably the most overrated left back in the Premier League. He's okay. He's nothing special.
Yeah, the word to sum all that up is okay.
Okay, yeah.
It's just okay.
Even Leno in goals, or Leno, I don't know, my German is a little off. He's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been overly impressed with him. He's a good goalkeeper. He's okay. But is he the world-class goalkeeper to take Arsenal to the next level?
No, 100%
I don't think he is.
And also, another stat here which will bring us on to another point that we've discussed many a time is a certain man has been directly involved in 3 of Arsenal's last 4 Premier League goals against Tottenham. 1 goal and 2 assists. And who is that man?
I'm going to say Rambo.
It is Aaron Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Who is going to Juventus.
Oh, he's going to love skiing. He's going to love the après skiing. He's going to love the après skiing. Fuck, he's going to love that with 400 grand a week in his pocket.
We talk about...
Imagine him and Ronaldo on the slopes, Instagram live. I'll be watching.
In Miravalino's bar.
I'll be fucking watching.
In Turin.
I'm coming next year, by the way.
Ah, you crack on.
I'm coming.
You love the après ski.
Right, but I'm fucking coming just to meet Rambo.
No, that's fine. It's no probs. So we talk about their deficiencies, and defensively they're only okay. And then you've got Aaron Ramsey, Rambo, who in stepping up in big games in North London derbies, he's contributing even still to this point.
Well, his goal was so well taken as well.
Even to this point, you know. We spoke in the past about his professionalism and how he's still doing such a fine job for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best things about them, and he's going. So I digress. We spoke about that so many times, but...
Yeah, Ramsey's a special talent, bro. Yeah. I think he'll thrive next season at Juventus as well. I don't know how much longer Ronaldo's got left in him, but Ramsey in the midfield with Matuidi and Pjanic, they'll boss Serie A next season.
Yeah.
You'll get at least one title over there.
Just a word on Harry Kane as well. We spoke about Salah going off the boil lately. He seemed to have dipped a bit as well. He looked clueless against Chelsea. Again, he didn't do an awful lot.
Do you reckon he misses? It sounds weird. Do you reckon he misses Dele Alli alongside him?
But it seems like it.
Ali is such a good player that I think sometimes when he plays, it occupies the opposition quite a lot because of his goal scoring record. He's such a threat that there's less attention on Kane. Do you know what I mean? So Kane now without Ali is very occupied. As we saw against Arsenal, you know, everybody's on his back. Whereas if you have Dele Alli there, and Ali's a bit of a bastard as well. I like a bit of bastardry. Dele Alli will fucking leave a foot in on purpose and he'll call you a prick. I like that, right? I got a lot of time for that, and I think Spurs missed a little bit of that as well on the weekend. You know, that intensity in a derby game. Someone just to leave a foot in and go, you know what, this is my house.
Yeah.
They missed it.
And, you know, I'm not sort of criticising Harry Kane because he's done it enough seasons back to back to show, you know, that on the world...
He's still one of the world's best strikers.
Still one of the best strikers, you know, in the world, but he's gone off the boil. Son's gone off the boil a little bit as well. He came back.
Shout out to Son as well.
So, yeah, sticking point for them at the moment.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, there's not much else really to say about the game. It was actually a really good game for the neutral who watched it. 1-0 is not a bad result for either team, to be honest with you. I mean, Arsenal would like to have won, but I suppose if you asked them, would you take a point? Yeah, they'd have took a point. It's not the end of the world, is it?
Yeah, I would say they would have taken a point, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, yeah, we'll move on to United Southampton. This game, man, it's hard to pick a best goal. We mentioned Ward-Prowse in episode... I think it was episode 30. We went over Ward-Prowse and we talked about how he could play at a higher level and how good he was. Bro, that was some free kick to beat De Gea. Oh my God, the first goal, right, was sensational. Like that, the power on it was immense. But the technique of Ward-Prowse's goal was just incredible.
It's like a goal of the month competition itself.
Yeah, it really was.
I actually can't pick because Valerie's one was brilliant because he struck it so clean and powerful.
Yeah. And
to beat De Gea from that distance, because he got a hands on it. And then you got Pereira's, which was just caressed into the corner.
Yeah, it's pure finesse.
And when he was lining up, I thought, oh, please don't. And
I didn't. And if we go back on other podcasts, I've said multiple times, the only person that can pick a forward pass in that United midfield,
apart from Pogba,
is Andreas Pereira. And the only person that's going to break forward and score is Andreas Pereira. And again, I was proved right. I said Victor Lindelof is United's best defender, and I said Andreas Pereira is the best
holding midfielder, is it?
Well, Andreas Pereira, Solskjaer had this debate on the weekend. He said he's not really a holding midfielder, and Mourinho tried to convert him into like a Michael Carrick type of player, and he said he works better when he goes forward, and he does. He's a very good player. Like if you play him in a 3-man midfield and you say to him, right, go forward and try and control the game, break into the box, he can do that. Yeah, he had man of the match as well on the weekend.
Yeah, I think and hope that goal will do a lot for him. He needed that.
Might just make his Old Trafford career. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Could do a hell of a lot for him because I think Lukaku, man of the match, actually, said on Sky Sports.
Yeah. It might have been the BBC website I saw it on, actually. Yeah,
but no, shout out to obviously, like we said, I hope that's sort of gives Pereira what he needs to kind of sort of push on from that now. But big shout out to Southampton. Because they came
were
to play.
And this is what I respect. Ralph, right? Rafe, he brought his boys up there and he was like, go express yourselves. Go harry them, go press them high,
and
force the mistake, which they did. They pressed United really well. They went and scored 2 quality goals, and those Southampton fans will come back, right? And they'll be disappointed they didn't win, but they look at it and go, "Fuck, we got our money's worth there." And the boys 100%. Put in a shift, and they'll still go home disappointed, but they'll be happy with the performance. The complete opposite of Bournemouth, right? The complete opposite. I can't respect the team just sitting there and dying. I can't. It's just bollocks. It is crap. And Southampton, fair play to them. If they play like that every week, they'll stay up.
Oh, I think
they got nothing to worry about.
I say I think they'll stay up. Anyway, are they 2 points clear the relegation zone?
Oh, is it? Yeah, it's Cardiff. That's was it Cardiff that's in the relegation zone now? Cardiff 25, Southampton 27, Burnley 30. So realistically, it's turning into a Southampton-Cardiff dogfight right now. And if I was going to put money on it, because I'm not a betting man, as we know, I would say Southampton.
Oh yeah, I think they've got more about them than Cardiff.
Yeah.
So I can see them staying up. Like you say, they went away to Old Trafford, which, maybe 6 months ago is not that much of a tough place to go.
Yeah.
But right now it is. Obviously, hence why United did go on to get the 3 points and the result, which we'll touch more on in a second.
Yeah.
But they showed great results at Southampton. They pressed really high. Maybe not so much
I was really
in the
impressed
second half. I was very impressed with them. And like you say, on that performance, I think they'll be absolutely fine.
Okay, I got a question for you. I got 2 questions. It comes in 2 parts.
Yo.
Alright, so do you give Solskjaer the job?
I don't see how you can't.
It's tough, man. It's really hard not to give him that job.
I think
and I'm a Pochettino man as well. I like Pochettino.
And at the moment, they're having hugely contrasting fortunes, Poch and Ollie.
They are.
I think unless there's been sort of an agreement on promises put in advance with Poch behind the scenes that we don't know about, I think you have to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job, because if someone like Poch comes in next season and United don't start like we'd hope, or they get a few bad results, the fans could jump on that straight away, because they love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and the feeling at the club is brilliant at the moment. The atmosphere.
At the wheel.
Ole is at the wheel.
I'm telling you, he's doing it. Look, it's next to impossible to not give him the job right now. He would only not get that job if United fall out of the top 4. I think if he wins the FA Cup and United come 5th, it's not enough. Because the Glazers are money men, they don't care about trophies. Yeah. They don't give a fuck. So yeah, if he gets them top 4, he'll get the job, which will be remarkable considering I thought Solskjaer was just a token gesture, where Ed Woodward has gone, oh shit, I balls up this Mourinho situation. Let me just get somebody who is managing at an okay-ish level. I don't know much about the Norwegian league, and he's gone, you know what? We'll just give them this to appease them.
And you know what?
And it's just turned out to be this absolute stroke of luck.
It can almost be for me to say, I told you so. Because we had Reece on the episode over Christmas, and we talked about this at length. And I said that maybe, just maybe, this could turn out good because of his history with the club, of how much the players will play for him, so on, I discussed so many points. Reece absolutely said no.
I said no as well. I'm firmly Reece, in that camp. I said no.
To be fair with Reece, he spoke to us on the WhatsApp conversation when I was in Italy doing some après ski, and he came out and said that that he thinks he'd got it wrong.
We got that wrong.
Yeah,
I'm in there. So.
Again, they could still go slightly tits up. He could follow the top 4, and then it might not go on to be the season that it looked like it's going to be. But as it currently stands, what I predicted seems to be happening.
You are indeed. Lukaku's firing.
Indeed.
Ollie's Midas touch. Fred might have had an assist. I couldn't remember from the weekend. But he definitely came on and played some type of part. Well, I'll give him the assist for now. The one question that I asked, obviously, about Solskjaer comes with a second part. Now, Solskjaer's tried his best to manage Sanchez.
Yeah.
Sanchez or Sancho? Because Sancho's been heavily linked over the weekend with United for 100 million, the move. Now, I think personally Sancho will stay at Dortmund for another season. But when Sancho does leave, I think he's going to come back to England.
Can I add a third name into the mix there?
Do.
There was a gentleman who was native to our country, was quite widely booed on the weekend.
Please not Bale. All right, so you've got Sanchez, Sancho, or Bale. Who'd you pick?
I'd pick Bale.
Oh, you would. I fucking knew you'd give that answer as well.
Now,
no
I would.
I love Gareth Bale. He's a good player, but I wouldn't have him back. I wouldn't have him at United.
I would take Sancho over Sanchez on current form, but there's quite a large expectation that would come with that at shoulders of a very young age. Now, he's found his place in Dortmund, and there was no expectation on him in the beginning, and obviously he's climbed up from there now, and obviously he's loved by the Dortmund fans. He's doing extremely well, as we know.
Yeah.
But now there will be expectation of him to come to United, obviously being an ex-City player. There would be a lot of expectation to come on that, and I don't know if that would come off.
I think he's got the shoulders.
Whereas with Gareth Bale, it looks like his time at Madrid, it could be coming to an end, and he has proven Premier League quality.
Did you see the lack of a celebration when he scored? Yeah. That was just. It was borderline. I thought very disrespectful from Gareth.
And I think the stats I read today, where he's played something like 220 games, scored 101 goals, like almost 70 assists, 13 trophies. He scored 5 goals in finals for them.
And his Champions League final goal against Liverpool is probably one of the most iconic.
It didn't even win an award, but it's like the best Champions League goal I've ever seen.
Along with that and Zidane against Leverkusen, it's up there.
And people forget, against Atletico Madrid when it went to extra time. Madrid did win 4-1, but he scored the goal to put them 2-1 up.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me because that's the way Madrid fans are. They have short memories.
They are very spoiled.
Yeah.
They
even had times where they booed Ronaldo on occasions.
It happens. The only person they haven't booed is Sergio Ramos because he will fill you in. Like, he'll kick your ass if you boo him.
I generally think, apart from his the odd injury concern which he can have.
When you say the odd injury concern, I kind of need to stop you. That's a massive concern. Like, there's the odd injury concern, which is you going down with flu every other episode. Gareth Bale is missing 6 months of the season consistently. And I'm a big Bale fan, right? What he's done for Welsh football, we love you, Gareth. But I don't know if he's cut out for Manchester United Football Club in a sense that, where would you play him?
Just play him where you're playing Sanchez. Just play him in the front three.
But then, what do you do with Martial?
Well, but where are you going to put Sancho?
I put Sancho will fit in on the right. You put Sancho on the right. You have basically what United lack is an out-and-out right winger. So you have Lingard who plays on the right now, but he comes inside a lot. United don't have natural
Bale
width.
can play there.
Bale ain't playing on the right for Manchester United.
He was there for Spurs, cut it in his left foot.
That's when he had pace.
I still got pace.
No. Let us know what you think about Gareth Bale. That's what we want to know. Sancho, Sanchez, or Bale. I wasn't ready for a third. But let us know what you think.
Like, Sanchez is just a non-issue for me at the moment because...
I think Sanchez is finished now. And I hate to say that because I was so excited about him coming as well.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fit into the dynamic play that Solskjaer wants. Mourinho didn't really know what to do with him. Part of me wonders who signed Sanchez for Manchester United, because I mean, realistically, I was looking forward to him coming. I still think I think he's a very good football player if he's put in the right sort of team and the team is built around him. But that United side is not designed for Sanchez. If it's all about him and he's your key guy, he's the focal point, then Sanchez, you can get the best out of him. But if he's on sort of the periphery of things where you've got Martial doing things and Rashford doing things and Lukaku doing things, Sanchez just doesn't even get the ball a lot.
Well, I think he could be out. It's been rumored he could be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
He's out 2 months. I think 2 months. His season's pretty much over.
Yeah. So, we haven't needed him this season. We haven't needed him in our revival. So it's not like it's causing a massive issue. He's just taking a massive chunk of our wages. So
there's a massive chunk, and then there's
so come the end of the season. I don't know what's going to happen with Sanchez. Could he be sold? It wouldn't surprise me.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
It would just be something that we all thought that was going to take off. United fans, other football fans, thought it was going to be a great signing. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Yeah. And if he was to go, shift a big chunk of wages off the books and just try someone else.
Yeah, cool.
Because we're coping just fine without him.
In terms of the actual game, I mean, it's a good victory for United in the sense that, as I said, the top sort of 6 is very condensed, bar the 2 going for the title.
Yeah.
In terms of Pogba, because I had it under my notes, right? I thought, should I bring it up because we've mentioned this so many times, but we kind of have to. That Pogba penalty, right, bro? The whole run up, it annoys me so much.
He shortened it slightly. He has shortened it slightly.
Even then, it still annoys me. Mm-hmm. If he puts his foot through that, he scores.
Yeah.
Because all he's going to do is put his foot through it into the corner. And again, he's trying to be too cute. The best penalty I've seen, probably ever, is Hazard's penalty in the cup final last week. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Is it Panenka? Is that how you pronounce it? You're Italian and Spanish is clearly better than mine. But again, I don't know what Pogba was trying to do because he didn't really lift it over the keeper. And it hit the keeper's leg and he went straight down the middle.
Yeah.
And Aubameyang's was bad, but Pogba's was every bit as bad.
I think he just assumed that the goalkeeper would dive out the way, and he almost did, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't a great penalty.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. We've brought this up before. I'm not a huge fan of his run up. I think if I was Solskjaer, I'd kind of say, look, wheel it the fuck in.
Well, look, here's the thing. I kind of hoped he would give it to Lukaku.
Yeah, for his hat-trick. Yeah.
I know there's no sentiment in football, but I mean, give the guy a break.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, it didn't go on to affect the result. It was quite late on. Had Southampton gone on the other end and grabbed an equaliser again, then it would have been, big issues, big questions asked.
Look, there would have been.
But then he is the penalty taker, so I can't argue with the fact that he took the penalty, and he has bagged most of the recent ones that he's had. But we've said this before. Every time he does miss one, he does like a bit of a prick because of his run up. But I'm not going to criticise Pogba too much at the moment because he's been very.
Do you know what he's done? He's done well. He's been rejuvenated, transformed. Any sort of word you want to use to describe him now, with Solskjaer's influence in his game, he's done well. So it's difficult to criticise.
Big shout out to Lukaku as well because, his 2 goals were both taken very well.
Interesting Lukaku stat. Did you know he overtook Didier Drogba as the top scoring African?
Really?
In the Premier League. He did indeed.
From Belgium.
Ooh, Lukaku.
Yeah.
Who overtook Drogba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the top scoring African footballer?
No, as the top. Right, let me get my words in again, so I got clarity purposes. Drogba was the top scoring African in the Premier League. So who's played Premier League football? Yeah. That is now Lukaku.
Oh, okay.
Lukaku is of African descent.
Oh, right, okay. I was like...
He's from Congo via Belgium.
Yeah, okay.
I get what you mean now. But basically, he's overtook Drogba anyway. Yeah. So that's
and he also is on level with Ian Wright.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, of Premier League all-time goal scorers, 113. So he's moving up the charts, and I think it'd be interesting to see where he does actually finish if he stays at United.
We said this a million times. Lukaku's goal-scoring record really stacks up. Yeah, when you provide him with service, he scores goals. It's not a myth.
There's only, I think, 9 or 10 between him and Kane. So for as much as people have been hammering praise on Kane for the last 3 or 4 seasons, he's only 10 ahead of Lukaku.
And Kane started scoring after Lukaku, might I add, as well. Lukaku's been playing professional football since he was at least 8. So he's been around. He was hench as fuck at 7, so he's been playing for a long time.
Yeah.
But Lukaku's goal scoring record is great.
I think Solskjaer's had an impact there, one striker to another. He mentioned before that Solskjaer himself has spent a lot of time on the bench, coming on as a substitute. Yeah. Lukaku lately has gone through a bit of a difficult spell. He hasn't had much football. He's had to wait for his chances. We said about Rashford when he was, on form. How does Lukaku get back in? And I said that he just needs to wait because Martial, Lingard, Rashford, Pogba, they're all playing very, very well at the time. Most of them still are. And I said that he will have to wait until injury concerns come up, which they have in a bit of a big issue way because with the Liverpool game was just
that Liverpool game. I mean, I did the 5-minute roundup, so we won't go into it in too much depth. If you haven't seen it, by the way, comedy gold. Make sure you do. But the Liverpool game. I mean, fuck. Have you ever seen anybody go down so quickly other than Mia Khalifa? Shout out to Mia as well.
Yeah, but Mia. But Lukaku had his chance. Like I said, that it would eventually come up, and he's taken it. He's banged in a few goals. He looks full of confidence. Lukaku, when he's on form and got confidence, is a very dangerous Lukaku. And especially with United created as many chances as they are at the moment, then it wouldn't surprise me to see him get a few more games to bag, a few more goals.
Look, realistically, he'll be one of the people that carries that United side going forward to the top 4 and to maybe an FA Cup win as well. He's going to be essential for that side. So, big shout out to him. In terms of the squad itself, McTominay's come in. How do you think he's done? Okay.
All right, decent.
Yeah, he's very it's very matter of fact, isn't he? When he plays football, he's just he'll just pass, simple pass, do his job, simple pass, do his job, put a foot in, break up.
Like a Carrick Fletcher kind of.
I was going to say Darren Fletcher. I don't think he's got Michael Carrick's passing range. But McTominay could certainly make a career out of doing that.
I think for him to get anyone here, put in a shout in to get a United career, I think he needs to score more goals because you look at Darren Fletcher, for example, if you're going to compare it to him, Darren Fletcher always popped up with goals. Like if you're a midfielder, if you could sit in the centre midfield, you have to do something.
Yeah.
So passing left and right and sort of being decently comfortable in possession and being all right defensively, it was not enough as a United player.
It's not enough, and that's why Fellaini went. Just wasn't enough.
He's filling a gap for the moment because Herrera's out. He was in good form as well, but I haven't seen enough yet of McTominay for him to tell me that he's going to be in that United midfield going forward.
There will be wholesale changes at United, irrespective of who manager is, come the start of the season, or start of next season, should I say. And one lad that is on his way out is Valencia.
Looks like it, yeah.
He's on his way. So Valencia's gone, Fellaini's gone.
Yeah.
I can see Darmian leaving. I can see Rojo leaving. I can see Jones and Smalling leaving. Smalling leaving.
Yeah.
I can see. Well, Ashley Young probably won't go, but
it's an extension, isn't it? I think
we'll come into because we'll go to a quick interval in a moment. Because I'm going to bring him up later on. Wan Bisakka your take on him. Do you think would you take him at United?
No.
You wouldn't know.
No.
Interesting.
We spoke previously about how well he's done this season. But if United are going to sign a full back,
you'd want some experience.
I want some genuine, proven quality at the European level. Because they're in a very important time at the moment.
Name a right back off the top of your head that you think that would enhance that United side.
Joshua Kimmich.
I was about to say, you watched my video, did you? You watched my.
We have said this before as well, though.
Look, Joshua Kimmich is a wonderful football player. Like he's a.
And I don't think
player.
that it's too absurd to think that we can sign him, because he is in a very good Bayern Munich side. But there's a lot of people want to come and test themselves in the Premier League. United are as big, if not a bigger club than Bayern Munich.
That's a fact. Yeah,
and we can pay him more wages than they can. So it's not absurd to assume that United can sign Joshua Kimmich. When United throw the money down, there's not many people that they can't get outside the obvious people like Messi and those you're talking on the cusp of some of the best players in the world. Joshua Kimmich, I think is possible. Somebody like Kante, I said before, that would be difficult, but it's not impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
So someone like he's the first one that comes to mind. He's like a complete right back. And Wan Bisakka, possibly, but he's in a Crystal Palace side that is still fighting on the end of the table. And I think we're at a very important time with United at the moment where things are going good again, and they don't need to waste money trying to buy from lower down.
You want proven quality. I get that. Okay, cool. All right, quick interval, and then we got the best of the rest. We spent quite a bit of time on those games there. We've gone real in depth. So with the other ones, as I say, we got a few bits and pieces we want to talk about. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. What's good, people? We're back. Victory and Vices podcast, episode 33. The Premier League rundown continues. All right, Becky. So, West Ham, Newcastle. Pretty routine. There wasn't much I wanted to discuss about the game because, as I say, I didn't expect anything less other than a West Ham win. One of the main talking points from West Ham is Declan Rice. He is now committing to England instead of Republic of Ireland. Your take on Declan Rice and what he has to offer England and potentially West Ham?
I personally thought that he might have had more fortune going down the Republic of Ireland route.
Seem to remember you mentioning that previously.
Yeah. I don't want to say he's got great competition in the England midfield because like Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
It's not to say that he won't be able to break into that, but Jordan Henderson and others are sort of favourites of Gareth Southgate. But then
Southgate does have his favourites actually. Yeah.
But then at the same time, Southgate does like to give youth a chance. He likes to give new players a chance, and he does tend to reward them when they're playing well. So I take my hat off to him in terms of bravery because he could have easily chosen the Republic of Ireland option.
Yeah,
there's been many of players with decent talent who have gone the other way. Wilfred Zaha. Just one coming top of my head. There's been players who have chosen other avenues as they thought they were more caps, for example. So interesting to see how it plays out. I have been relatively impressed with him. I thought he was very good.
He's done okay, hasn't he? He reminds me of a younger Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
Almost. but maybe with a bit more technical ability.
Yeah. But I also want to give not so much in this game, but I want to give a shout out to another young lad on the opposition team for Newcastle.
Feel free.
Sean Longstaff.
Yes, his name is ringing bells lately, isn't it?
He's been equally as impressive. Again, not in this fixture. I thought Newcastle would have a little bit more about them because they had a bit of upturn in results. Obviously, we'll come on to Almiron a little bit later, but he's been very good. He's been very good for them so far. Sean Longstaff's been very, very, very good in the last couple of games. So I think him and Declan Rice could be in sort of a similar boat at the moment.
Yeah, well, Declan Rice, like I said, to me, when I see him play, he reminds me of Eric Dyer quite a bit. Somebody who can slip into defence and midfield. He's probably better as a midfielder than he is a centre-half. I might be wrong, though. West Ham fans, let me know. There's talk of Guardiola wanting him to play as Fernandinho's long-term replacement. You're not feeling that?
Not yet, no. When a youngster like this has a really good run of games, he's broken into the West Ham side, done very well. He had man of the match against Newcastle, rightly so. He made more tackles than anybody else on the pitch. Defensively, he was very, very good. Nobody made more passes than him as well. So he's not shy. He gets involved. He puts himself about, gets the odd goal here and there. And there is a possibility that England might have a very good talent on their hands. But how many times have we discussed this? Players like James Maddison, we talked up.
Yeah.
Obviously, that has not gone to plan. On the things that we and you were saying about it earlier on in the season.
Maddison,
yeah, but that's what can happen. You get players who have a really good run in games. They get talked about in media, the press. Just like this lad is starting to happen now, and sometimes it's just not needed. So, is he talented? Yes. Could he, be in the England team of the future? I don't know.
I'm wondering. My only thing with him is he's a good athlete, right? And he's good in the air, and clearly he's a top level footballer, right? Let's make no mistake about that. He can play in a Premier League football for the next maybe 10 plus years. He'll have a very good career. I don't know if he has the technical finesse to play at the top level. Maybe he might develop into that, but I'm not entirely sure. You look at someone like a Sergio Busquets, who can do everything Declan Rice does, but is technically so superb.
Well, is he going to be a Steven Gerrard or like a Paul Scholes? That's someone, a young midfielder that bursts.
I don't think he's got that in him. I don't think that ability.
Is he going to be like a Mark Noble?
He'd be... right now I think he's somewhere in between. I can see somewhere in between. He's not got the technical ability of a Scholes or Gerrard, but I think he has the potential to be better than a Noble.
Law of averages, and statistically, the amount of times that young English talent gets talked up, it doesn't tend to follow through. More often than not, it doesn't. So I'm going to assume that it won't. Same with Sean Longstaff. He's, this game he wasn't particularly great, but he's also been good as well. And we'll see what happens with him. You mentioned Guardiola potentially, going in for him. No, it's too early. He's too young.
Yeah.
He hasn't proven it enough. He would need to show some real quality over the course of a couple of seasons for a club.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Do you think someone would take a chance on him based upon what they've seen?
Maybe someone like a club, maybe slightly.
Spurs, maybe?
Maybe
Arsenal?
Maybe a Spurs or an Arsenal, but I don't think when you got something like Fernandinho, a team that's pushing for the title, may win the title, won it last year, really looking to push on and potentially win the Champions League. I don't think Declan Rice is the answer at the moment.
Time will tell.
There's more out there and more proven quality. Again, you mentioned Wan Bisakka. I give you Kimmich. I think there's more proven, better quality in a midfield player out there for a top side than Declan Rice at the moment.
Interesting take. The other sort of standout player for the opposition who's been doing very well, bar Sean Longstaff, is Almiron. I didn't know what to expect from Almiron, given the fact that he'd come from the MLS, and the quality of the league out there isn't great, but he joined the MLS with a huge reputation, and he's left the MLS with an even bigger reputation. He's done very well there. Since I've seen him play for Newcastle, he's been very impressive. He's a very, very good player, incredibly technically gifted. Doesn't seem to mind the physicality of the Premier League either. He's one of those Latin American bastards that seems to like a bit of a fight. So shout out to him.
It makes you wonder what sort of hidden gems are in the MLS as well.
Well, bro, the MLS has ridiculous potential, because you think all the players from South America they could get that would love to go live in America and work and play. The only thing that hinders them, I suppose, is the wage caps. Where players will go, oh fuck, is there any point? I may as well just go straight to Europe and earn a wedge. Do you know what I mean? So it's the MLS is a strange place. But Almiron, again, very impressive. Newcastle seem to have a very good player. Mike Ashley put his hand in his pocket.
Eventually.
Mike Ashley, coming back to him, by all accounts, he's taken the club off the market. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not know. I was too busy having some Matt Brisky.
Obviously, it's straight in Sashlahem while I was doing my research, obviously. But Mike Ashley, according to reports, this is just what's in the papers, has took Newcastle off the market, which again is bizarre, because I don't get the impression he wants Newcastle.
No, not at all.
But it seems no one's willing to pay him what he wants for Newcastle. So next season, where does that leave Newcastle?
He
an owner that doesn't want them. Rafa might not be there.
Well, he probably thinks now, all is rosy. I've paid out maybe like a mediocre sort of transfer fee. Broken our
What was it,
previous
20 million for
20 million.
Almiron?
So we've broken our previous transfer record from 2005
Only
by 4 or 5 million.
Yeah, it's not
which is nothing huge. If Almiron goes on to finish the season strongly and do well for the next season, then great. Newcastle fans will be happy with that. But it's not enough. Nowhere near enough. And if he's taken the club off the market because he thinks they've had some sort of upturn and it's going to, that the Newcastle fans are going to just sort of be happy with him again, then that's not the case.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We'll draw a line under that because there's not an awful lot to say. Pretty routine from West Ham. Moving on to Chelsea Fulham, or should we say Kepa FC versus Fulham. We didn't get a chance to talk at length about Kepa in any way, shape or form, and we won't go into too much depth because it's been done to death.
Yeah.
But do you think the Kepa situation was Kepa being a ballsy bastard and saying, no, I'm not coming off, or do you think it was lost in translation?
I don't know. I
think it was lost in translation.
He tweeted Kepa after the game to clarify, and what
did it say? Because I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'll recall the tweet so I don't get any of it wrong. Because because it was quite a long tweet. But when you mentioned lost in translation, that's kind of the point he was making. That he apologised for the way that it came across, that it wasn't as we all thought. That he was basically just trying to say, let me see if I can get him up. Say that, that maybe ask BNO somewhere.
Let's have a look.
Okay.
Oh, fuck, that is like a Harry Potter novel.
No, it's...
Is there an English translation?
It's half...
It's half Spanish and half... So thank God.
He said, upset and sad for not being able to take the title. We fought until the end against a great team. We will continue to be working stronger. I would also like to clarify some facts of today's match. First of all, I regret how the end of the match has been portrayed. At no time has it been my intention to disobey the coach or any of his decisions. I think everything has been misunderstood in the heat of the final part of the match. The coach thought I was not in a position to play. My intention was to express that I was in good condition.
Oh, so sorry, thought he was injured. Yeah. Right, okay.
To continue helping the team, while the doctors that had treated me arrived at the bench to give the message. I feel the image that has been portrayed was not my intention. I have full respect for the coach and his authority.
Oh, there we are. That clears that up nice then.
Now, it could be a cover story. Because
he was still fine, though, wasn't he? So.
He seemed absolutely fine. And I think he made a penalty save as well, wasn't it? So he obviously wasn't that bad.
He did.
So yeah, I think it's maybe a mixture of both, perhaps. Maybe there was just an issue with translating it, but it certainly came across a little bit differently at the time, didn't it?
Yeah, at the time it came across as quite it's quite ignorant almost. But I remember thinking, surely he can't be disobeying him like this. It's just that type of public fuckery. Like with your boss, just does not slide in any workplace.
The thing is that I don't think we'll know for certain because of the translation sort of issues, and we just don't know 100% certain what messages were being sent back, and because that could have come out, they could have just covered that up and said that was the case when it wasn't. We don't know that.
Yeah.
If he has just downright disobeyed him, then it is extremely poor, because regardless of what you think, you always have to respect your manager's decisions, and he is your boss. So regardless of what your opinion is, you do as he tells you to.
At least in public.
Yeah.
I mean, behind closed doors, as we know, it's different. But yeah.
Interestingly, Chris Sutton.
Fuck Chris Sutton.
Fuck Chris Sutton.
I hate Chris Sutton's opinion.
He is just a troll. He's not a pundit. He's a troll. He's put on there just to stir the pot. He said previously that Virgil van Dijk was the best Dutch player to ever play in the Premier League. Now, no disrespect to Virgil van Dijk, he's been an absolute rock this season and the back end last season. We don't have to go over his qualities at the moment. You already know that. But the best Dutch player ever, Van Nistelrooy, Bergkamp, Hasselbank. I won't even go into that.
Jordi Cruyff.
Yeah.
He's shite.
Yeah.
I'm only throwing random
Van Persie. And then he also mentioned that Celtic's reserve side was. What was the word he used?
He said they were bigger than Leicester City.
Bigger than Leicester City, which Julian Lescott just grimaced at.
Oh.
Because
Julian Lescott was going to stick one on.
He was
a boy from the Midlands was like, you know what? What?
Yeah. And then he said that he would have sacked Kepa. Sacked him. What? No, what you do is, if,
I can't even... I can't.
I'm not even going to give him any more time on air about Chris Sutton.
I can't do this with him. I can't.
But even if it is the case that Kepa has completely disobeyed orders, you drop him for a couple of games. You give him a heavy fine. You put an arm on his shoulder.
Young as well,
yeah, you give him a bit of a talking to. You put an arm on his shoulder. You know, you have a word. You drop him for 2 or 3 games just to show him what happens when you disobey an order, and you fine him X amount of weeks' wages. You don't sack the player. Enough, Chris Sutton.
Yeah, fuck you, Chris Sutton. I'm sick of listening to you, to be honest with you. Yeah, Chelsea game. We'll wrap that up quickly. Jorginho scored a very Jorginho goal, where he actually side-footed it into the net, because all he does is side-foot the ball. I've never seen him do anything else with it. The actual outcome for Fulham is basically, again, I can't see them staying up.
They're such a bizarre team, because I enjoy watching them go forward still.
They're a good side going forward.
But in defence, it literally seems like they are headless chickens just running around in circles.
Scott Parker, who is now managing Fulham, said he was very happy with his centre-backs on the weekend. I mean, they didn't do that bad, but considering how bad they've been over the course of a season, I'd lower the praise.
He's come in as a caretaker manager. I think he's just trying to say the right things at the moment.
Yeah.
Me and you know, and everybody knows, that their centre-backs are not a pair you would be happy with.
They're fucking garbage.
They're absolute trash. So he's just trying to say the right sort of things, keep the positivity going, because he obviously doesn't want to say how poor they are. But you know, they were okay for them. You know, they again, as I mentioned, going forward when they attack, just like they've been all season, they cause problems.
Yeah.
But ultimately, their defensive issues let them down once again. Jorginho, great goal.
Terrific strike.
But I think it just papers over the cracks for him, because how many goals he scored this season? 2, 3?
I don't know how many he scored. He still scored more than Naby Keita.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a fair point. It wasn't a great win for Chelsea. They needed it. Obviously to stay sort of in the hunt, because yes, they've got a game in hand over United. They sit 6th at the moment, but if they win the game in hand, I think is against...
That's an interesting top 4 battle now.
Yeah, I think it's against Wolves, I want to say.
I honestly don't know.
Chelsea's game in hand. I'm sure it's Wolves.
Not entirely sure.
Which obviously isn't an easy game, but they would go back in the 4th by a point. So they needed a win against Fulham. They got the 3 points, but it wasn't anything mightily impressive.
Yeah, no, that's very true. The game itself, I mean, look, it's a decent win for Chelsea. Puts them in the right direction. But again, I wasn't overly impressed with either side, truth be told. But yeah, it is what it is. Fulham, I think, are going to go down. I think Chelsea will come 6th. If you had to pick your... We know the top 2, right? So that's fine. We won't necessarily go into that. But your 3rd and 4th position, who would you pick now? And say, okay, I'm putting my money on them to be 3rd and 4th.
United, Chelsea.
Chelsea and United, really? Wow, interesting. I would say Spurs and United.
I think Spurs are really falling at the moment. They could just do a very Spursy thing. Spursy is a great term because it covers a wide variety of what they are.
Yeah.
And they could just, they've had a bad run. They could just get results now, just from now and the end of the season, But they're only 3 points ahead of United. They'd only be 2 points ahead of Chelsea should Chelsea win their game in hand. And I really think the Spurs could fall out the top 4, especially with the...
I'm the opposite opinion.
Especially with the noise about Pochettino.
I think they'll solidify themselves in the top 4. I think Spurs will be okay.
I think with the noise of Pochettino and about what's happening with him, and are United gonna look into him, or what's gonna happen with that situation, and obviously Kane's dipped off, Son's dipped off at the moment. I could see them fall out.
Do you reckon? Interesting topic. We shall come back to that over the next few weeks. It's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, should we go over a couple of stats very quickly?
Yeah, bring them up. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look what we got, yeah.
Kepa made a wonderful save in it as well. He made a very good save.
Let's have a look. Eden Hazard became the 3rd Chelsea player to both score and assist 50 Premier League goals.
Eddie has. I'm going to miss him when he goes to Madrid next season, man.
Do you know who the other 2 are? Because you've already saw.
I just saw one of them now.
Frankie Lamps and Didier Drogba.
2 of the greats. 2 of the greats.
Eden Hazard has been involved in at least 1 goal in all 4 of his Premier League appearances against newly promoted sides. Doesn't tell us anything we don't know. He scores against the mediocre sides. Fulham have lost more matches than any other side in the top 5 European leagues in all competitions this season.
Fuck me, Fulham is so bad.
Again, just there's just things that we know.
They are shite.
Just stats that we know. They don't change anything for us. There's not one stat that I go, oh, I didn't know that.
I can't believe how
Oh, that's a
bad
surprise.
Fulham are. I just
know.
can't get over it. They're so bad.
And they've become the first side to lose 10 London derbies in a top flight. It's in a top flight single season.
Just get out the league now. I'm so sick of even listening.
You don't belong here.
I do not. I can't believe that the Fulham team that I predicted at the start of the season to come in the top 10 would
get relegated. And do you know what's going to happen when they get relegated? All those quality players that they signed, who they're paying very large wages to, are going to fuck off, and they're going to go enjoy some at-brisky.
They are, yeah, they are indeed.
They can enjoy some at-brisky, and then they're going to find new clubs.
They'll be in Italy, enjoying the winter break.
Yeah, and Fulham are going to be languishing somewhere in the Championship again.
Do you reckon Mitrovic could join a top club?
Yes.
When I say a top club, how top are we talking?
Top 6.
I was going to say top 6.
I'm not saying that he's
not to start, but maybe just as a backup.
Yeah, but it's up to him then and how much he pushes that.
I agree.
Adrian Durham on TalkSport made a bold statement saying that he could get in any squad in world football. Squad, not side.
I would say he would get in a lot of top squads.
And a lot of people bashed that comment, but I don't think he's too wide of the mark with it. I'm not saying he's going to go into a Bayern Munich and displace a Lewandowski or a Suarez or an Icardi. I'm not saying that he is that good that he's going to be spearheading at top world
but he could definitely play a role.
But he could go in, if he could potentially go in at Spurs and back up Harry Kane.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, look, Inter Milan, Icardi, his future is in doubt now as well.
I think that he is good enough to be playing at a far higher level than where he is at the moment.
Yeah, I think he deserves to be playing at a higher level as well. Totally agree. All right, cool. Yeah, so we'll go on to Watford, Leicester. Yep. Watford, for me, are the surprise package of the season. Where they are and where I thought they would be are two completely different places. So they do deserve an awful lot of credit. In terms of Leicester, they're in a transition period. Rodgers has come in. Leicester fans have tweeted us were adamant they wanted Puel out. You've got what you wanted.
Yeah.
Is the grass greener on the other side?
We'll see.
We shall see. Rodgers now has a little bit of... he's quite lucky coming into that Leicester role in the sense that there's not a lot of expectation on him right now. He can experiment between now and the end of the season, get a feel for who he likes, what he wants to do with the squad. Again, they're not expecting anything massive because they're mid-table anyway.
Yeah, and there's only 9 games left.
Yeah, it's not a relegation battle. So he's very lucky in that respect, Brendan Rodgers. I do think he could potentially take them to a higher level if he makes the right signings. He's a very good manager.
If his Celtic side played this current Leicester side tomorrow, how do you think that will go?
That's a very good question. I would fancy Leicester.
Yeah, even as they are at the moment versus a Celtic side top of the league.
Scott Brown versus James Maddison. Only one winner in my eyes. That's Maddo.
I'd be interested to see that match, actually. I'm intrigued.
Bro, according to Chris Sutton, Celtic reserves would hammer them.
Oh, of course. Oh, 100%.
But I'm very sceptical about that.
I'm sceptical
the Scottish League, as we all know, is a 2-horse league.
I think that Brendan Rodgers has done well to get the job at this kind of level side in the Premier League.
I mean, look, he squeezed all the juice out of that Celtic job. I mean, realistically, he couldn't do any more. Stevie G's right up his arse with Rangers. I mean, he's like, do I really need these kind of problems? Yeah. And it's kind of cold up there most of the year anyway. I wouldn't want to live up there. And fuck it. Yeah,
I'd be interested to see.
He's up. Well, I guarantee his Leicester wage is way more than his Celtic.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Must be.
I'd be interested to see now. So Leicester are going to finish around about mid-table, as we know. We've been saying this.
I'd say top 10 finish.
Yeah, we've been saying this for a while. They're going to be mid-table. How much money do they give him in a transfer window? And if they do give him a decent sum of money, what can he do with it? Leicester fans, like you just said, you've got what you wanted. You've got a new manager, a decent level manager who's done some okay things. He almost took Liverpool to the title. Did well with Swans. And he's obviously done as well as you can do.
Did he win a treble in Scotland, or am I making that up?
I'm not sure.
I don't follow Scottish football enough to...
I'm aware of the things that are going on, but
I can't
that's about as far as it goes. But he did as well as he probably could have with Celtic.
Still playing? I don't know. Like I don't really follow it.
I think Henrik Larsson might still be there with Chris Boyd. No,
is Chris Sutton still playing for Celtic? Is that what's happening? I don't have a fucking.
That's my way of saying what he's saying.
Yeah.
But no, I think they've won 4 titles on a trot or something like that. He's done as well as he could do with Celtic. Did okay with Liverpool. Did pretty well with the Swans. So it's a decent managerial appointment, and Leicester fans, give us some predictions.
Yeah, let us know what you think. In terms of Leicester and the game itself, Leicester were quite unlucky, I thought, in the end. To lose the way they did, it's hard.
They played okay,
and they didn't play bad. They didn't play bad.
You just unlucky.
The Leicester team, there's going to be an exodus, I think, in Leicester next season. I think you look at Maguire. If he gets a move to a bigger club, he'll probably go. Chilwell, Chilwell is odds on to go to a top 6 club. And Didi, he may have some offers in the summer.
As it stands, though, if Brendan Rodgers can somehow keep some of these players,
they have a very good sign on their hand.
It's very good. You've got Schmeichel, who's just consistent. He's proven at a decent level. Johnny Evans. Yuri Tielemans has come in.
Oh, Tielemans is a player as well. Very good player.
Vardy is just Jamie Vardy. Maddison, he's got it in the locker. Harvey Barnes looks a decent prospect. Can't finish his dinner, but
Tamari Gray.
Yeah, you mentioned Chilwell, Maguire.
Iheanacho's still a very good player as well.
So if they can keep most of, if not all of these, and add a few decent signings, they're not going to make any bold predictions, but then the future could be quite bright.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, as I say, great win for Watford. Watford have been nothing short of superb. In my video, those of you that watched it, and you should have watched it, with the 5-minute roundup, you may differ to me in this. I think Deulofeu is the most talented player outside the top 6.
More than Zaha?
Yeah. Only because Deulofeu came through that Barcelona academy, and he was one of the highest rated youngsters in Barcelona. And I know he's kind of, you could say his career, he's deviated a little bit, right? And that's fair enough. We'll all kind of agree on that. But in terms of natural footballing ability, technical ability, probably hard pressed to beat Deulofeu.
I think it's close between him and Zaha, because what Zaha can do with the ball at his feet is magical as well.
I just think Deulofeu's end product is probably a bit better than Zaha's.
I mean, we picked our sides outside the top 6. There's quality. You got Felipe Anderson when he's on form. His ability is. Do you know what? Is excellent as well.
I'd probably put Deulofeu ahead of Felipe Anderson, but man, Felipe Anderson's a fucking player.
Of course, So Deulofeu he's right up there, because of where he's come from, the Barcelona background, his pedigree is brilliant. So I wouldn't argue too much, but I think you're talking like Zaha, maybe Felipe Anderson are pushing him close there. But as you said, Leicester, they were unlucky not to get a point out of the game, but that's Premier League football for you.
It is indeed. Alright, Huddersfield-Brighton. I'm not mentioning Huddersfield anymore because as far as I'm concerned, they're down and they're offering very little. Brighton got the first win of 2019 for themselves. Brighton, I mean, they've struggled a lot recently, and I did predict them, I think, to go down at the start of the season.
Yeah.
They are very close. They're teetering on the edge right now, and they're fortunate that Cardiff have been pretty poor. Brighton, they're not home and hosed.
They needed that win.
They needed that win.
And they weren't that great either. It took them 79 minutes to beat a pretty abysmal Huddersfield side.
Very average.
I know Huddersfield got a win last week, which is quite surprising because they just don't win.
When was the last time Huddersfield won?
Last week, wasn't it?
Who did they play? I can't even remember.
Yeah, they did win.
It was so uninspiring that I can't actually remember who they beat. Was it Wolves?
I think it was Wolves. Let's have a look. Yeah, they beat Wolves 1-0, which is weird.
Yeah,
because
I literally couldn't even remember it. I was so uninspired and uninterested.
Trying to work out when they're mathematically relegated.
It'll be pretty soon, man.
Because they're 11 points.
It'll be pretty soon.
They're 11 points away from safety. Well, no, actually, they're 13 points currently adrift of safety, and there's 27 points remaining. So yeah, it needs another 4 or 5 games for they're mathematically gone.
Yeah.
And even then, they would need all the sides above them to not pick up any points as such. So they are, borderline a championship side already, if not all but confirmed. So they had a slight bit of fortune getting that result against Wolves. Didn't really do a great deal for them other than potentially prevent them from becoming the lowest points tally in Premier League history.
I just send them down now.
Just send them home. But Brighton, I think they might stay up because Cardiff, I think, are going to go down.
I'm putting my money on Cardiff to go down. Quick question: you're good with pronunciation. You're a man of the people. You're a man of the continent.
Go on.
Okay, Brighton's you can see it now. Brighton's record signing. I'm going to call him Ali Reza. How in the holy fuck do you pronounce his surname?
Jahan Baksh.
Say what?
Ali Reza Jahan Baksh.
Jahan Baksh.
Yeah, I think it's Jahan Bak or Jahan Baksh. I don't know if the SH
is the K silent? I don't know.
Yeah,
Jahan Baksh.
Yeah, I don't know if that SH is like silent or it's definitely Jahan Bak
I'm
or
calling
Jahan
Ali
Baksh.
Reza. Yeah, shout out to him anyway. Scored the goal, record signing. He's keeping them up right now.
It was Andon.
Oh, Andon, sorry, sir, beg your pardon, scored the goal. Andon and Ali Reza, man, they're just names I'm not familiar with at all.
They just blur into one, don't they?
They just they really do, and they were both A's, so there's alliteration in there as well. So, yeah, no, shout out to him, though. He's clearly...
Jahan Baksh did come close to opening the score, and so that's probably where the confusion is for that.
The other lad, to be honest with you, I'm a Glenn Murray fan. If he isn't Glenn Murray, I'm not really interested. And Muzzer's gone off the boil a bit, hasn't he? He's really gone off the boil.
I think it's just age.
Well, he is 86, like, so it's not easy for him to keep going.
Yeah, and he gets to the games via sort of public transport. He uses his bus pass well, so
shout out to Muzzer.
Yes, I did say the start of the season, or maybe sort of the first third of the season, he was banging them in, and I said that he was, just as important to Brighton as anyone is to any club in the Premier League. And since then they have fallen down the table, and they are only 5 points, clear of safety. So it does kind of not prove my point, but kind of give it a little bit of substance in terms of he's fallen off form and he's not scoring the goals he was earlier on in the season.
Yeah, Brighton,
and they aren't scoring goals really.
Yeah, Brighton really need another person to come in and bang.
There'll be squeaky bum time for Brighton, I think, come the end of the season.
I think they'll be alright though.
But I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I think they'll be alright. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we'll very quickly touch upon the last two games. Wolves Cardiff. Just what I've sort of noted from this Wolves Cardiff game. Bamba is going to be a huge loss for Cardiff. I don't know how long he's out for, if he's out long term, but Bamba, him not being there, it's just his presence on the pitch, a bit like Van Dijk with Liverpool.
Just Mr. Cardiff,
Bamba, yeah, he's Mr. Cardiff. Like he's a very good football player as well. Like
he reminds me of kind of like what a Wes Morgan was to Leicester.
Excellent shout. Excellent shout.
Just a bit of a brute. He likes a physical battle. Wins a lot of them. Pops up with goals.
He is the guy they look to in that changing room. And with him not being there, you think, shit, that's a big blow for them. But what I will also say is Etheridge in goal. Bro, very good goalkeeper.
He's very good.
Very good goalkeeper. And Cardiff will be lucky if they can keep him another season if they go down, because he could easily play at a higher level. He's a very talented player. Keep an eye out on him, people, because let me tell you, he'll do very well for himself. What I also noticed about Traore is he is a speedboat. And what I mean by that is, people, you're probably thinking, what do you mean a speedboat? The guy is a speedboat. He's fast and he's flash as fuck, right? So he's fast and he's flashy. But you're thinking, shit, is he really worth the money? Do you know what I mean? Because his end product on the weekend was abysmal.
Yeah.
It was piss. I was looking at it thinking...
That's the reason why he doesn't start very many games.
What is that?
They bring him on later in the game just to stretch tired legs.
Stretching the game is terrific, right? Because his pace is unbelievable.
But that's kind of, I think, all he'll ever be capable of, because...
I don't think he has much more.
If he sorts out his end product, then he's not going to be much of an asset to anyone.
I don't think so. There's better players in that Wolves side that offer more than him. So.
Like Diego Jota,
Jimenez.
There's a little stat about him. I believe
Gibbs White, who Reece doesn't
just about to say that Diego Jota has been directly involved in 9 goals in his last 7 games in all competitions. So, Diego Jota, Jimenez doing very, very well. Reece does not like Morgan Gibbs White. Doesn't rate him. Doesn't think he's really going to become anything. We've both said on previous episodes that we see a lot of potential.
Huge fan of him.
He's already captain under 19s in England. And it's difficult to see, or at least give too much reasons why he can't. We talk about Sean Longstaff, we talk about Declan Rice.
Gibbs White is... do you know what the difference between him and them is? Technical ability.
Yeah.
The ability to control a midfield. I look at Declan Rice as more of a destroyer. someone who's going to break up play.
He's a presence, Gibbs White.
Gibbs White can do everything, and I'm telling you, he is going to be a player. Yeah. I've already said in my previous transfer video, I think he should go to a Spurs or somewhere as a next step. Being at Wolves now is fine. Another 2, maybe 3 seasons at Wolves is terrific. But if he does get a move and someone comes calling,
he's in good hands. Spurs. He's at a good club at the moment. The way Wolves are going,
club,
he had a standing ovation at the end, and he deserved it. So I'm not going to make again any massive or bold predictions to say that he's going to be a star, an England star in the future, but
I think he will.
He can't do a lot wrong.
Yeah, I think he will. Really routine for Wolves. I say they scored a couple of good goals. Cardiff, it's looking tough for them. Yeah, it's looking real tough. All right, cool. We're going to the last game, Palace-Burnley. The main thing I really wanted to talk about was Wan Bisakka, but we've already mentioned him. He's made the most tackles in Europe's top 5 leagues.
Great stat. Great stat.
That's an incredible stat, isn't it? When you think how many decent players there are out there in midfield that put their foot in every single game, and for Crystal Palace's right back to have that top stat, I think he's a wonderfully talented football player. He's English as well. That English tax is going to be a bitch for a club that tries to buy him.
Yeah.
And there's talk, United were linked over the weekend, Arsenal were linked over the weekend. We said previously on another podcast, and Man City were linked with him as well. Don't be surprised if him and Zaha go on that right side of Crystal Palace's team is just decimated.
They're just going to flop.
They're going to struggle to keep them. Zaha is, as we said, he's different gravy. He deserves a move now to a bigger club, and I'd like to see him push himself and test himself. Wan Bisakka is a little bit younger. He could stay another year with Palace, but realistically, he may as well go to a big club, be an understudy, get a bigger wage, and maybe do what Simon Danilo is doing now at Man City.
Yeah, he'll run the risk, Wan Bisakka, because if Zaha goes, Palace have been sort of dicing with relegation this season. They're on 33 points.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, you'd think that they'll be okay. We say Brighton will be okay, and Palace are 3 points better off than them. So I think Crystal Palace will stay up. But if Zaha goes and they don't sign well, then they could be sort of hovering close to relegation. And if they do get relegated, then his stock decreases massively.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, when your stock is high, you're going to make the move. Shout out to Palace. They're safe now, pretty much. I think Burnley are going to be safe as well. They've got nothing to worry about. It was a good win for Palace as well. The only questions we have is how much of that Palace side can really stay together.
Yeah, Batshuayi did well. He's done well since he's
another one that's on loan, so he won't be there next season. You look at Max Meyer. Will he decide to play there again next season? Andros Townsend has filtered about between God knows how many clubs. Will he be there next season?
Probably not.
These are the question marks that surround Palace. That Burnley squad, you can see them staying together a lot more.
Yeah.
And you can see them going, okay, we'll just reevaluate for the new season. But I don't get that impression with Palace. I think they're going to be broken up. And again, will Roy Hodgson be there next season?
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
I think going forward, I mentioned this on a previous episode, I don't think he's the man to take that club where they need to be. People have used the term dinosaur. He is, I think, either one of, if not the oldest.
I think he might be the oldest
manager that's ever held a position in the Premier League.
Yeah,
he's recently overtaken Alex Ferguson. So he's done okay with them.
Yeah.
But I think Crystal Palace will have sort of bigger and better aspirations than being managed by Roy Hodgson next season.
Very true.
But they got the job done. They got the W. They look pretty comfortable. It was a needed win for them, and I think it gives them breathing space. Burnley as well. They both look like they're going to be fine, and the teams below them are much worse.
Yeah, very true. Player of the weekend. Who are you going for?
I'm going to go for the first one that came to mind. I'm just going to double check very quickly. I'm going to go for Lukaku.
I'm going to go with Michael Keane.
Yeah, and I don't want that to come across as biased. Lukaku has had a bit of a tough time recently, and I think he took his 2 goals very well, and ultimately was the match winner.
Cool. We haven't missed anyone out, have we? I don't think so, to the best of my knowledge.
We give Morgan Gibbs White, he got man of the match. We give him plenty of praise.
So anyone else?
Give Declan Rice a bit of praise.
Yeah,
but no, I think
they're all noted. They're all
roundabout.
Yeah, they're all thereabouts. All right, cool. We'll round it up. So remember, we will be back next week. It is FA Cup week next week, but there's Premier League fixtures. So
that's fine. We got
voila, we get a chance to finally cover the two. So yeah, some interesting fixtures next week in the FA Cup and the Premier League. Remember to follow us on iTunes, subscribe. SoundCloud, if you prefer that format, go on there. Anything else in between you want to use, feel free to do that. Remember, Twitter, IG, YouTube, subscribe. We're trying our best now to get as many followers and views as possible. So if you know a friend that's into stuff like this, let them know. Tell them.
If you enjoy the videos as well and you watch them, hit the subscribe button, because you get that little notification to let you know as soon as a video is dropped. And it makes a big difference to us as well. Yeah,
and don't forget to share it on your timelines as well, be it Twitter or Facebook or anything else in between, because the shares, they sort of get people's curiosity and they go, oh, what's that? I want to see it too.
A lot of people don't realise sort of the importance of sort of blessing other people's timelines, or at least just putting it out there, So it makes a big difference.
All right, so we'll leave it at that, people. V&B Podcast episode 33 is now done. We'll be back next time. Take care, people. Ciao.